So today's topic is serverless, and as I mentioned before, what we are going to do in this particular series is we are going to learn about serverless, various serverless offerings from various cloud vendors, including the open source ones as well, the OpenFaaS. We'll also go through Knative Kubernetes. We'll also today we'll go through Cloud Run, serverless with Cloud Run, and we'll also cover deep dive demos in future of GitOps with Cloud Run. So what happened is I ran a poll sometime back on my Twitter handler. So if you're not following me on Twitter, then just do it. So I was doing it on Twitter handler, and what we did is I did a poll where I asked what topic you want to learn in serverless. So maximum votes, so around 37 to 40 votes came, and maximum votes were for serverless 2. Complete introduction to serverless and your Cloud Run as well, all the topics basically. So with that respect, I thought I'll cover from scratch, and in the further sessions in the coming weeks, we'll take this into deep dive demos, cool demos, and all that stuff. So let's go through quickly what I have prepared, and then I have some demo. So I created the demo, and I was just few minutes back actually it worked. So I'll show you that demo as well, and you can so that demo is very simple, and what you can do is you'll just clone the repo, and you will create your own fancy demos around that, and definitely share that with me what you have created. So let's start with serverless. So serverless, people say that it is without servers, which is absolutely wrong. And people have a misconception in mind that it is a sci-fi concept. So these two are basically very wrong thoughts if you have them in mind. Serverless doesn't run without servers. So it is running somewhere in some cloud or some data center on some other's machine. So basically it's running somewhere that you don't know. So serverless means you don't know where your application is running. It can be running anywhere. So obviously, if you are running GCP, then it will be running in somewhere in the GCP data center. If you're running in some other cloud vendor, so it will be running in that particular cloud vendor's data centers. And it's not a sci-fi concept. It's very simple, and we'll break down the concepts of serverless using Cloud Run. So basically, think of it as I'll be explaining you serverless with respect to Cloud Run, but the terminology and the concepts remain the same. So serverless, the basic notion or the basic funda behind serverless is you develop and run your application. So in today's world, what problem we are trying to solve with serverless, or what problem the great developers are trying to solve with serverless, all the cloud vendors are trying to solve with serverless, is that the main focus is on developing the application and running the code. That's it. So you have a business logic and you want to run the code. That's it that you have to do. You don't have to do anything else. And you don't want to care about infrastructure. You don't want to know where your application is running, and you don't want to monitor that. You don't want to set up monitoring on that. You don't want to set up logging on that. You don't want to take care of the nitty-gritties of what sort of scaling I have to think pre building the app. So that particular portion, that big piece of infrastructure, which is actually a job for tens of thousands of folks around the world. So that particular job you don't have to care about. So serverless gives you the ability to develop and run your code without thinking where it is running and without taking care of the infrastructure. So develop and run your code. No need to worry about the infrastructure. Oh, this laser light is so good. Then pay for what you use, definitely. As your the amount of time your code is actually running. So basically the amount of time your code is actually serving your request, that particular cost goes to your account. And that particular cost is for Cloud Run, if you say it's nearest to 100 millisecond. So nearest to 100 millisecond, you will be charged for that. And most of the serverless offerings are fully managed, and except for the open source one, you have to do some management. But also, if you are running serverless on your Kubernetes cluster, you have to manage some pieces. But the native serverless offerings from cloud, like Cloud Run, is fully managed cloud service, and you don't need to care about anything. You don't need to care about SSL certificates. You don't need to care about the endpoints. You can configure your domains. I mean, you can do a lot of stuff. So it's fully managed. You don't need to take care about auto scaling. You don't need to take care about your the disaster recovery and all those stuff. So what's the last point? Integration with G Cloud services. Yes, this specific is point for G Cloud, Cloud Run. So Cloud Run has integration with your what you call cloud build, cloud log, cloud monitoring, all these services which are there in the stack of Google Cloud services. So these things are there, and obviously serverless is highly available and serverless is highly scalable. So these things basically constitutes serverless. I mean, the basic terminology, how you should be thinking about serverless. Like, it's not some fancy concept that you cannot understand. It's extremely simple, and this is what it is. So next, we'll go through some of the actual use cases of serverless, and how we can implement basically Cloud Run with respect to serverless. So from now on, whatever terminology we'll be using with respect to Cloud Run. So you can host your websites. So a user basically will go to the website and will maybe fill a form, maybe generate some report of, or maybe get a weather data. So all those things can be hosted on Cloud Run, and you will be charged for whatever you are serving, all the serving times. Now, one thing to note: all the serverless in all the serverless, and including Cloud Run, serverless are only meant for stateless application. Now, what is the stateless application? Stateless application is something where you do not care about the state. So if you have some dependencies on the database and you want to store some state for some amount of time, you cannot do that in your serverless mode, because you don't know where your on which machine your particular code is running. So you cannot store something on the host or something like that. So in few seconds it's running here, and then another few seconds it'll run somewhere else, and you won't be able to know what all is happening. So what you do is, whenever you're using Cloud Run or any other serverless offering, you attach a separate data store provided by that cloud vendor or external one to maintain your state. So what you can do in case of websites is, so user is requesting, user is keep on putting some or the other requests onto your Cloud Run application hosted on Cloud Run, and all the metadata and the things are getting stored in external DB like Cloud SQL by G Cloud and all that stuff. So yes, very important point. Serverless is only for stateless. Actually, I can write also. Serverless only for stateless apps. Please let me know the feedback, how you are finding this, because if this is successful, then my future demos and my future presentation will be like this. And I feel it's more interactive kind of. I have always been a fan of a Blackboard session kind of. So if you find it good, then please do tell me. So next use case where serverless can be used is, or Cloud Run can be used, is REST API backends. So you can have all your REST APIs, and your APIs can have APIs can request the process. So you are getting a service hit, and your API is doing something, and then it goes store some results somewhere else. And then machine learning workloads. Ideally, so this particular portion, why I kept over here is because now you actually can run machine learning workloads. How? I will tell you. But natively using Cloud Run, you cannot run GPU workloads. I mean, only using Cloud Run. So what you can do is, you have a GK cluster, and you have Cloud Run on top of it. Let me take another pen so that doesn't mix. Yeah. So you have a GK cluster, and you have Cloud Run on GKE. So this is another offering, and we'll talk about the offerings as well. So GKE on so Cloud Run on GKE will actually help you run GPUs as well, and once you have the GPUs, you can run your machine learning workloads. Event driven, so all the schedules, all the scheduler jobs, you can actually run on Cloud Run. Maybe you can maybe you have some data store. From data store you are sending some data to PubSub, and then from PubSub you are triggering some cloud function which is actually doing some operation on the data transformation, and then storing it to some other some other stuff. Yeah, so you have PubSub, data transformation, sending the reports, generating reports, and doing some sort of Excel works and all that stuff. So yes, so what happens is today we'll be using some of the code. In code there will be a Dockerfile will look something like this. You already know what Dockerfile is, you already know what container is, and you already know what Kubernetes is, because Saloni has already explained a very good concepts on what container is, what Dockerfile is. So by now you should be absolutely sure what this particular Dockerfile means. So you have from Python 3.7, it's taking Python 3.7 image from Docker Hub, and you copy your current directory into the directory of the container. Then you run the pip install -r recursive with the requirements of txt, you expose some ports. Actually, I have to give a env over here, env port. I'll show you. So port is important if you want to have port other than maybe 8080, because by default Cloud Run runs on 8080, but yeah, that's customizable. You can change 8080 to 3000 or whatever. I have I'll show you the configuration where you can do that, and then you run the command. So the command is a bit wrong. So like this you have to do, like this you have to do. Yes, now it makes sense. Now let's see what officially Cloud Run from various documentation and its own documentation means. So Cloud Run means you build the image, you push the image, and you deploy it to Cloud Run. As simple as that. So we'll be using gcloud, and it's very easy. So you have gcloud shell. So you build the image and you deploy, gcloud deploy, gcloud run deploy, something like that. So basically you don't have to do anything. You have your code, you have your Docker file, and you can deploy it on Cloud Run. As simple as that. Now, I told you that there are two services. One is Cloud Run, and one is Cloud Run on GKE. One is Cloud Run, and one is Cloud Run on GKE. So there are few differences. Most of the things are same. Like, I mean, not most of the things, but yeah, there are some similarities, because they are both the Cloud Run offerings, native Cloud Run offerings, and both are backed up by Knative. Knative is another serverless project, which we'll be talking in deep diving. Sorry, some of the future sessions. So both have pay-as-you-go model, but in GKE you don't have pay-as-you-go, because you have a GKE cluster cost as well. So in Cloud Run, you have maximum 1 or 2 CPUs, I think, and the only customization you can do is on memory. And in but here the flexibility is on GKE. You can have your customize your memory, you can customize CPU, you can introduce GPUs. Cloud Run max timeout is 15 minutes, and that is the time to serve your requests. So that 15-minute timeout may not be sufficient if you want to run your machine learning workloads. So in order to run your machine learning workloads using the Knative's which is native to Kubernetes, using that particular Kubernetes object, which is in the kind field, you can actually specify, you can actually change the spec section and change this time. And I think it is 64-bit integer, so you can run it for years. So that depends on you. So the SSL is automatic in case of native Cloud Run, and it's manual in case of GKE. You have to manage that. Obviously, when where there comes some power, there also comes some responsibility that you have to manage. So GKE gives you the power of changing a lot of stuff, but again, you have to manage some part of it. Then, okay, that's it. So now what we'll do is, so we'll be having a Python file. So the demo goes like this. So so first we create a Python file, we create a HTML file. So I'll be hosting a small website on Cloud Run, and we will just invoke the functions and we'll get the output, as simple as that. So you'll be having a Python file, which will be nothing but a Flask server. So anything that listens to HTTP, and yes, yeah, Cloud Run only supports HTTP 1, 2, and I think gRPC, yeah, gRPC as well. So you need to have a kind of a server running in order, which can accept HTTP connection. So we can accept the HTTP requests. So all the HTTP requests. So for this, I can use Flask server. Will be using Flask server. You can use your own choice servers. And then I have one Docker file, which I showed you already. And then in the HTML file, we'll be having some input boxes, and we'll be having a post. And from here, this will capture what all is there. The request goes here, and this it will process whatever the business logic is there. And after processing the business logic, it will return the output on the web page. So this is the whole flow that we'll be seeing today. And let's see how that works. Now the time is over for iPad, and back to my computer screen, because yeah, I'll be soon showing you code as well on iPad only. I'm trying out few stuffs. I'm yet to get my keyboard; it's out of stock. And once that is there, we'll switch completely to iPad. In the meanwhile, let me just share the screen on my desktop. I hope the screen broadcast is switched to my channel. Sorry, my Mac. So this is the repository. I created it 1 or 2, I think, yeah, 2 hours ago. So that you can try. So in the Docker file, just one change has to be made, which is I just made it here, cat. Yeah, I just have to provide an environment variable. Rest everything looks good. So this is a Docker file. So you have from Slim image, you copy it, copy all the files and the directories to the container, and just Flask is needed. So I'll use Flask, and I'll expose the port 8080. You can use whatever port you want. And I've already built the application, and you can see that I actually have built it. Sorry. So I built it here. So this particular stuff, yeah. So we just ran a command. We cloned the repository. We just ran a command like, let me show you the command. Yes. So gcloud builds, submit, and we tag it with gcr.io, then your project, and with the repo, with the image name that you want to build. And we'll also go and see the basic Cloud Run, how it works. First, let's go through the code. So this is our main file. So what happens is very easy main file. You have application Flask. Actually, I have to import 2 files over here. I'll change this as well while we talk. Let me have the files. What is the file? Yeah, cat app.py. There are 2 things. Yeah. I will copy as it is. Makes sense. So there were some changes that we have to do in order to take the environment variable. So this repository updated now. No, it should work. So we have taken Flask, and if you remember in the Docker file, we have installed Flask as well. So OS is native. Then we define an app, and on the app root just with the slash, we return the index, I mean name.html. I'll show the HTML file as well. Now, when it is slash howdy and a post request, so it takes the name and it returns the name, as simple as that. So it takes your name and returns the name. And let's see the index.html file. So take this and implement something on your own and just tag me like I implemented this, I implemented that. Maybe what you can do is you can have some sort of conversion or some sort of mathematical calculation of some funny names, or maybe attaching an image to the name and then sending it. So all the stuff you can, cool stuff that you can do, or maybe a fidget, whatever. So this is a simple body, nothing is there. This is a simple form, which is very important. This is what that is actually doing everything. So action is slash howdy and method is post, enter the name, and its name is name, which we actually used in get in the Python file. So that's pretty much it. You don't have to do much of the coding over here. I mean, that's a very simple demo, and I think it makes sense to have a very simple demo for the introduction. So you have an introduction to serverless. What is serverless? You have introduction to Cloud Run. What is Cloud Run? You have a sample application. Now let's go ahead and deploy it. So what, in order to deploy, you go to Cloud Run. So you go to GCP console. You select in the compute section. You'll be having Cloud Run. Go to Cloud Run. You'll find this particular window, except for these two, because these two I just deployed. So what happens is you click on create service. Now in the create service, now I'll close this. I'll zoom a little bit so that you have a better view. So create service, what happens is this is the actual service settings. You can select a region, and if you want to run on GKE, this is the second option. So it says Cloud Run for Anthos. So Anthos this particular Cloud Run will be deployed on your GKE cluster. So you can create a cluster and you can do all that stuff. I'm not going to create the cluster for now. We'll do it when we do the Knative demo sometime in future. So now you give the service name. We give the service name test. You can do next, and oh, I already gave test. That's why it's not taking. I think so. Okay, sorry. Because I selected GKE, because there's no GKE cluster over there. So for now we are allowing authenticated access to all the invocation. Yes, this is a very important feature which requires authentication. You can have your Cloud Run IAM access integrated with Cloud Run, and those only with the access with the correct right IAM access will be able to access your API, or maybe the applications which are calling, like the pub sub is calling. So that particular application is seamless. You don't need to log in. So if within your GKE environment or your GKE project, sorry, not GKE, your Google project, you are trying to hit Cloud Run, or you are trying to invoke a Cloud Run function or deploy it or anything on Cloud Run from any other service, you don't have to provide any authentication. It takes automatically from the project metadata. So very simple, you can do a container image URL. If you don't want to use my image, you can directly use a hello world image from here. But I have some of the images which I used. I mean, we just created. You can use that. So that is very important point written over here. Should listen to HTTP requests on port. So you have to define a port, and by default it listens to HTTP. If there is any other container port that you want within the container, you can do that in the advanced settings. So in the advanced setting, you can give the container port. Request will be sent to the container port. We recommend listening on $port instead of specific number. That's why always define a port inside your Docker file itself, so that it can listen to $port. And what happens is container command. So if you want to override any command from the Docker file, you can do with the arguments as well. Service account, you can select over here. So memory allocated, you can give custom memory, and you can allocate the memory, and you can have at max 2 CPUs. Like I said, you can have either 1 or 2 vCPUs. So maximum 2 vCPUs, and some custom memory that you can use for your application to run. So this is a request. Think that when your application is hosted on Cloud Run and you hit invoke, basically any function, any code that will be running, so that particular code will be using how much memory, think in that perspective, how much maximum request per container, so you can give this much, how much maximum instances you want, 1,000, and yes, it scales down to 0. And there is a cold starts as well. So if everything is scaled down to 0, it depends on number of factors. So that's a problem with serverless, all over the frameworks. So you have the cold starts, so you cannot keep it warm always. Like if you have your first request after 10 days, so definitely it will not keep on running the application for 10 days. It will again spin up the application if you hit that URL in some of the instance, and that particular first request will take some time. And after that again, so you can have some sort of cron job to keep it hot, keep it warm, your so your cloud run, so your function or the application will remain warm, and whenever new request come, you don't have to wait. Or if you're okay with waiting for some time, and you don't have incur any charge at all, so you can use uh, as it is. So but yeah, there will be cold starts, and that depends on number of factors that GCP accounts into. So these are some of the basic settings. Then you hit and create. It will create your function and deploy the revision. You can also deploy different revisions for your application. I'll show you in previous hello name. I have almost 10 revisions because some of them didn't work. So I changed the image. So we had this particular images, and we have the final one running. So print your name. This service is not valid. I forgot to change that. So enter name, Siam Cloud Run demo, and hit submit. Howdy, Siam Cloud Run demo. So the demo gods are with me, and my demo works, which is good. And you can see how quickly I was able to deploy the application. Even the new one has been deployed. How quickly I was able to deploy the application, run the application, and get the response back. And you can what you can do is it automatically gives you a URL, which is very good. So again, so that was the last image only from GCR that I took. GCR is nothing but a container registry similar to Docker Hub. And you can use is you can see the metrics. I'll just get refreshed in some time. Maybe the other one would already have some data on the number of requests. So all these things you don't have to take care, you don't have to implement. Let me go here. And yes, so you can see you can have your request count, and you can have with respect to errors what are the error counts, and also you can trace back your complete call. I mean, you have to do really a lot of stuff if you have to do it on your own, believe me. So you have a full stake trace, and you can see what happened, what all happened over here. So I mean, all these things are very good. I mean, you get it out of the box, and you don't have to do any configuration for that. And I think around 2 million requests or 2 lakh requests, I'm not sure, we have to go through Cloud Run FAQ, are free. And after that only you start incurring the charges. And so this is the metrics and request latency. So you can see how much, and 95% is 1.97 seconds the response time, which is very good. And billable instance, now here also you can see from nearest to 100 milliseconds what are you getting charged for. Billable container instance time, so these are the instances that you are getting charged for. These are the milliseconds that you are getting charged for. And these were the CPU utilizations, container CPU utilization for that particular request. Memory utilization. I mean, you have to actually you have to do a lot of stuff to get all these metrics in place and create the graphs. You don't have to do anything. You just have to write the code, Docker file, and done. Boom, your application is deployed. You get all your tons of metrics by default. You have the revisions, you have the logs. You don't have to go inside tons of stuff. You have the logs over here. You have the details and the YAML file that it has used. So this is the YAML file that has used. I told you, like, it's Knative somewhere, you will see. Yeah, so it's a Knative serving that it is using by default. And These are the permissions, and you can assign roles, permission metrics, and even you can integrate it with your Stackdriver stuff and create graphs. So, and yeah, very important stuff. Wait. That's very important to tell. You can set up your continuous deployment pipeline from your source repository. So as soon as you make any change, it applies as a new revision on Gcloud.